Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm Casino Pete. Hit that like and subscribe button for me, please. I much appreciate it. Welcome back, UFO fans. How did you guys do in week 2? I believe I went 8-4 with all of my picks and money lines against the spread and over and unders. I believe my record was 8-4 for the season. I'm 6-2 on money lines, 2-2 with point spreads. We just started those point spreads last weekend, and 4-4 with the over and unders. Anyway, without further ado, let's recap a little bit of week 2 before we go on to week 3. And if anybody saw the Houston Roughnecks against the Arlington Renegades, we all wonder why that point spread was so high. Well, as any sports bettor will know, what Vegas will do is if too much money is rolling in on one team, they want to even it out. So they'll mess with either the point spread or the over and under. Unfortunately, the point spread was kind of messed with in a way that they shot it up to minus 11.5. I didn't think it deserved to be at 11.5. I really didn't think so. But if you took the Houston Roughnecks plus 11.5, you won. Houston played well on defense, kept the game close. And as a sports bettor and gambler like me, I kind of lost on that one because last weekend I couldn't get the spreads on time, couldn't get the over and unders. So I kind of did it on my own, went kind of blindly, hoping to give you guys an edge and then match it up against what Vegas was going to put out. This way, when you went to the casino at the sports book or looked at your app, you will understand where I was sitting at with the point spread and then match it up with their point spread. And if it came anywhere close, then it would be up to you to decide whether or not my pick was correct. Unfortunately, I had it at -2. The game did end with a 2-point win by Arlington. They did not cover. So the fact that I had picked them on the spread, I would have lost. Anyone who have teased it down would have lost. Okay. So the point spread being at 11.5, Arlington had to win that game by 12. Unfortunately, they didn't, but they did win the game. And they squeaked by a good defensive performance by Houston, shady performance by the quarterback. He was yet inconsistent. We're talking about Anthony Brown Jr., very mobile quarterback. But again, he was inconsistent with his throws, although he did have a key throw dropped at the end of that game on a 4th and 12, which could have given them back the possession after scoring a touchdown, and they would have had a shot at maybe, just maybe, winning this football game. Unfortunately, number 18 dropped it. Can't get his name out of my head. I just can't come up with his name. And that cost them the game on Saturday. But Arlington pulled it out. The experience at quarterback for Arlington was Luis Perez. Kind of started off a little bit shaky, and he had a couple of sacks that he couldn't avoid. He's not as mobile as Anthony Brown Jr., but he does get the job done. We'll find his receivers from time to time. The running game wasn't there like it was in week 1. Kalen Ballage was a little bit of a disappointment, especially for people that took player props, and we'll talk about that later on if we decide to do player props. Anyway, Arlington played good defense and got the win. But I think Bob Stoops had the edge in coaching. Arlington was the much better team, and maybe that's what Vegas saw, and that's why that point spread was high. Head coach Cecil Johnson, sorry to say, I think he's in over his head, and that's the reason Houston Roughnecks lost. And we'll talk about that later when we get into the week 3 picks. Anyway, another point spread that was shocking to me was the Birmingham Stallions as +1 underdogs heading to the Michigan Panthers. If you saw my previous video, I actually had these guys at -2 favorites. I believe that's what I put down. They should have been the favorites. Defending champs, even though they came off a bad week 1 loss, I figured they would rebound, which they did. They won the game. So if you took the Stallions, regardless of my point spread, and took them as the underdogs, you won that. We did go 4-0 with my money line. I did expect the Stallions to win regardless, so I won with that money line pick. Alex McGough, unfortunately, was injured on the first series. We don't know how bad is this injury. Will he come back? But his backup did okay. I wouldn't say he had a great game. Matt Corral, former top pick in the NFL, or was to be a top pick in the NFL a couple of years ago, comes to the UFL. He's the backup. He did well when he came in last season for Stallions, got them to the championship as well as winning it for them. But he struggled in this game, had a few good key moments, but he almost had a pick six that was dropped by the Michigan Panthers. Panthers did play good defense towards late in the game. Deon Cain continues to be the big play guy for the Birmingham Stallions. They're yet to establish the running game I'm looking for. Maribel and maybe Pearson. I believe it's Pearson. I took some notes. I believe that's the guy that should be running the ball. And unfortunately, I don't think I even put his name down. So Deon Cain was the star for Birmingham on offense. And then defensively, they did come through. Michigan, Bryce Perkins started off slow, kind of got the team going later on in the second half, made the game closer than it should. The defense did play a little bit better. The O-line for Michigan was a big letdown. I believe Mike Nolan, the coach of the Panthers, is probably going to address that this week. They didn't show up at all. They was really struggling on the O-line. Early in the game, Bryce Perkins was taking hits. The running game wasn't doing any better. They did get an injury. I think it was they got this running back. I think his first name is Matthew. I'm trying to get his last name. He looked explosive. Anyone that saw the game, he looked explosive in the game. And they were kind of like getting away from this guy, and they kept giving the ball to Nate McCurry, who's not a bad running back, but did not have the explosiveness that this man had. And unfortunately, he got hurt. He might be lost for the season. It was a really, really serious injury this guy suffered. But I made a note. DJ Miller made UFL history with 2 interceptions in the same game. That was great. He did cover the tight end from the Stallions. This guy was like a monster, like 6'5", 280. And every time they kept throwing towards him, DJ Miller just kept making the plays, never gave up the big play, came up with 2 key interceptions to keep the Panthers still in this game. It's one of the reasons why the Panthers had a shot towards the end. But overall, the play calling was kind of mismanaged right before that first half, if I remember, right? They kind of like ran a play with like less than 30 seconds to go in that first half. Sometimes you got to understand the field position and you got to understand the time of the game. They kind of had Birmingham on their toes a little bit, and then they ran the ball. And it kind of took time off the clock, and then it kind of like, it was just the play calling in this game was kind of like, I didn't like it. Like I said, Bryce Perkins made it kind of interesting. Okay, but other than that, I was just Matthew Coburn. That's the running back, Matthew Coburn. I'm sorry, folks, if I couldn't get his name out the first time. That's the running back that I felt was making an impact early in the game. They should have kept giving him the ball. It seems like he just had the hops. Every time he touched the ball, he blew through the line, was running over people. Looked like a guy that maybe you could swing him out of the backfield and get him the football. Unfortunately, it didn't work out. He got hurt, might be lost for the season. Okay, let's go to the other game. We got 2 games down that we talked about, and we're still going to get to week 3. Just be patient, folks. I know I'm rambling on, and you guys probably saw all the games just like me. I had to take some notes because it's going to affect some of the picks we're going to do later on. Let's get to the Memphis Showboats and DC Defenders. Well, what can we say, right? DC Defenders, right? They play good, solid defense. Where's their offense? Jordan Ta'amu, I believe that's his name. Jordan Ta'amu of the DC Defenders, the quarterback. You got to do a better job than this, son. You got to do just better than this. You've been in this league for quite some time. You've been with this offense for a few seasons. And again, I'm not seeing this offense. They have a plethora of good wide receivers on the outside. And you got to find ways to get these guys the ball. I mean, Ty Scott looks like he's a guy that's about to become a star in this league. Then you got Jay Mickens on the outside. Finally got his name right. Sorry if I called you Ray last week, and I believe it's Jay Mickens. I always think of Ray Mickens, who used to play for the Jets. But anyway, you guys got a good set of wide receivers, okay? And you got a couple of running backs there. Abram Smith is one of them. He's coming back from a serious knee injury. And I believe again, I get a brain fart every now and then. I should have taken down, his name and notes. But you got a decent running game that you could get back to. But unfortunately, I'm seeing a lot of inconsistencies on their offense. The defense continues to play well. They managed to really play a poor Memphis Showboats team. And, unfortunately, Ken was in Hunt. I mean, this guy, he's a good coach. He really is. A couple of Super Bowls under his belt. We all known him for being the Steelers OC with Ben Roethlisberger winning Super Bowls there. Goes to the Arizona Cardinals, takes them to the Super Bowl. So this is a good head coach. And if you saw the game, Memphis came out. They look a lot better and sharp on offense. I took a couple of notes there. I like that running back, Deneric Prince. I think they should continue feeding him the ball as the season goes on. I think that running game looks good too. Also, E.J. Perry, he looked sharp. Looked like he was moving that football. Did not see Troy Williams. I don't know why we didn't see Troy Williams. Was he hurt? I don't know what was going on. Maybe Ken Whisenhunt felt that EJ was the better guy to go with. The offense did look like it had a little bit more pep. Unfortunately, they couldn't find a way to beat the DC Defenders, who, this is a solid defense, but unfortunately their offense is keeping other teams in games. Memphis could have easily won this game. But look, Deneric Prince, E.J. Perry, and if the defense continues to improve, maybe they got something going here. Maybe we'll see a couple of more wins come out of them, because right now Memphis and the Houston teams are both, in my opinion, they're on the bottom of the UFL. But let's go to the next game. And I believe the final game here was San Antonio and the Battlehawks. I think in my previous video, I kind of thought this was going to be the better game. This was a rematch of the playoffs. It was also, they were building up a little bit of a rivalry. You saw a couple of players lose it in the game, kind of went at each other. Seems like the Battlehawks are looking like the team that is expected, in my opinion, to win the whole damn thing. And they're certainly looking like it. They got the offense rolling. This Manny Wilkins quarterback is looking solid. I mean, the fact that he's keeping Max Duggan on the bench speaks volumes. He was there a year ago, Manny Wilkins, waiting for his opportunity, and he's certainly taking advantage of it. Very mobile. Looks like he's in total command of the offense, has good receivers as well. And he gets the ball there. I mean, he's playing very well. He has command of this offense. He's doing very well. And the defense continues to play well, make plays, make sacks. They got a good defensive line with Freeney. That one kid that came late in the game to relieve one of the edge rushes. And there's 2 weeks in a row where the guy has come through with sacks. He has a long last name, and I should have taken note of that. But Jacob Saylors continues to be the top running back for them. Looks like a player prop that you guys ought to think about. The defense, again, quality. Manny Wilkins getting the job done. And the Battlehawks really looking like the team that could win it all. San Antonio Brahmas, they're struggling. Offensively, Kellen Mond, what is going on? I mean, this is a guy who came out of college, was a really top pick for the Vikings a few years ago. I kind of like this guy coming out of college. I just don't know why he's having a hard time playing the position. He is really struggling. A lot of inconsistencies. Did have a couple of drops in the game that weren't his fault, but he's also not using his legs the way I thought he would. He is a mobile quarterback, and he could definitely use his game to escape some of the pass rush, but unfortunately, again, inconsistent. I put him in the same category as the Roughnecks quarterback, Anthony Brown Jr. I just think maybe San Antonio is going to have to make a change in the third game, okay? Let me see. Another note that I took down. Pretty much, they need to run Anthony McFarlane. Okay, took a little time for me to get that out of my mouth because I do take notes and can't even read my own fucking handwriting. You know, unbelievable. I take notes and then I scrabble over them with other stuff, and I gotta like look through that, and it doesn't help that I'm wearing shades, right? Jesus Christ! I mean, you think I would know better, but anyway, I wrote it here. Anthony McFarlane. He's an explosive player, ex-Steeler, a guy that runs a 4-3, and when he gets the football, could probably do more damage to a defense with his speed. I think San Antonio is going to have to start feeding this guy the ball. Um, Offensively, that might help them because I think McFarlane should be the main guy back there running the ball. You know, the problem I'm seeing right now with San Antonio is that they're very inconsistent on both sides of the football. The play calling's a little Kellen Mond, I expect him to do more. John, what's that wide receiver? Kirkland, a star. Okay, he's one of the star players on the offense. A good wide receiver. We need to get him the ball more, but a little too much inconsistency on that offense. And I think Kellen Mond's job is going to be on the bench soon. The way he's playing, I expect more inconsistency on both sides of the defense and the offense, and that's why they took their second loss. Now, let's get to week 3, people. All right. So I'm switching over my notes and let's get going. All right. Week 3, first game up. Renegades at Stallions. Folks, we know where we're going with this one, right? We're going to do the Stallions as the money line. Obvious, right? Now, the over and under is 40.5. We see how the Renegades kind of struggled a little bit against the Houston Roughnecks. That's a little bit of a concern for me. They didn't get that running game going. Stallions are very stout on defense. They're a good team. So the 40.5, look, I'm going to take the under simply because the Renegades, I don't know if Canella, their tight end, is going to be out or play. He did suffer a big hit. Looked like he got concussed. So he's going to be on concussion protocol for probably the remainder of the week. We don't know if he'll be available, and he's a key target for Luis Perez. They got to get Kalen Balazs to get going for that passing game to get going. They do have some wideouts, Tyler Vaughns, all right? He's a fantastic wideout. But right now, the over and unders at 40.5. I'm going to take the chance. I'm going to take the under on that. I don't know what you guys are going to do, but I'm looking at a game that maybe the Stallions will win by like 23-9. Maybe 23-10, 13, something like that, 23-14, right? That'll put the game at like 37 points somewhere combined, right? So I'm going to take the under. And then the spread is at -3. Sounds about right. Stallions to win by 4. All right, let's go to the next game. Let's go to the this is going to be the toughest game. I don't know how this game's going to play out. Houston Roughnecks and Memphis Showboats. Now, Cecil Johnson, head coach, versus head coach Ken Whisenhunt. I mean, come on now. The experience of Ken Whisenhunt will probably be the difference in this game. Both teams do have pretty good defenses. Okay, we're not going to just shit on these two teams. They are at the bottom at the moment. They're both 0-2, but they did play 2 solid teams. Each team has played 2 solid teams on the first 2 weeks coming out. But I'm not confident with the Houston Roughnecks. They're struggling at quarterback. They need to play Nolan Henderson. They need to get a running game going for sure to help out this guy. I mean, got to get that running game going. Defensively, they're solid. But when it comes to this game, I'm going to pick, the Showboats. I'm a money line that pick. I think Ken Whisenhunt, the way he came out Saturday. And I gotta realize that EJ Perry, well, we all have to realize that EJ Perry is the guy to go to. I haven't seen Troy Williams. I don't know what's going on. I don't have an update. Did he get hurt in the first games? I don't know. But if he is available, he's going to be a problem for that defense because he's a mobile quarterback as well. And he does have quite a zip on his arm. Again, I'm taking the money line with the Showboats. The under The over and under is at 35.5. Vegas doesn't think that these two teams are going to score. But you know what? I'm taking the under. And with my luck, this game's going to be a high scoring game, like somewhere between 23 and 20, right? Something like that, right? Why does it always end up like that for sports bettors like us, right? But I'm going to take the under, okay? And then the spread is at -3. Wow, -3. And I got to think for a second. I'm like, Memphis, EJ Perry does play well. Whew, -3. They're expecting Memphis to win by 4. I'll tell you what. I'll tell you what. I think I would take. Whew, this is a tough one. I'm going to go with my gut. I just think that Cecil Johnson is just not head coach material. I might be wrong, and I'm sorry, Cecil Johnson, if I'm putting you down or anything like that. You are the head coach, but your decision making is really not helping you right now. That -3 means that Memphis will have to win by 4. And I'm really looking at it like, do I take it? Yeah, maybe I'll take it simply because I see a little bit of better play calling on Memphis' part, and that could be the difference. Memphis is okay on defense. I don't see them giving up no more than 14 points in this game. I do see Memphis probably around this game is looking like a 17-14 game. Could be 20-17, right? But then that would mean that you would have to take an over. But I don't even think it's going to get to that. Like 20-13 could be the final here. I'm taking Memphis. Let's get to a game of interest right now. San Antonio Brahmas 0-2 at the Michigan Panthers 1-1. Two good head coaches. Oh man, solid head coaches from the NFL. Wade Phillips, you all know what he did with the Brahmas last year, getting them to the playoffs. And the Michigan Panthers also were in the playoffs with Mike Nolan. This is a good game. I like this game. It's going to be, it'll probably come down to, look, when I tell you who I'm picking, and then I tell you one thing, like I said, it's up to you guys to decide where you want to roll with this. But let's be honest here, okay? San Antonio is struggling on offense. Kellen Mond struggling. We spoke about that earlier. Not sure if he's going to be the quarterback in this game. There might be a quarterback change. They got to get that running game going. Panthers are good on defense. DJ Miller is showing himself early that he's going to be someone to not mess with in that secondary. They do have Kai Nakua, another good secondary player. And offensively, Michigan's good on offense. Bryce Perkins, definitely a good quarterback. He's going to give the Brahmas a little bit of a problem. He can be mobile, like Manny Wilkins gave San Antonio problems last weekend. But Bryce Perkins loves to sit in the pocket. He would rather find a receiver before taking off. And if he does, he still could get the job done. I like the Panthers. They got a good defense. I'm taking the under. I'm a money line the Panthers. And that -4.5, I'll tell you what. I might say San Antonio with +4.5. Let's go with San Antonio +4.5, right? Let's do that. Let's play it safe, and let's take the underdog San Antonio to take that spread. +4.5. Panthers to win. The over and under will be the under at 35.5. What is it at? No, it's actually at 36.5. So let's take the under on that. I don't see too many points coming out of San Antonio. They're really inconsistent right now. They got to find a way to get Anthony McFarland the ball. They got to do something with Kellen Mond and make him feel comfortable. Maybe Kellen Mond needs rollout play action to help him out. I think he's suited for that. He did that in college. But we're going to go with the +4.5, money line the Panthers, and take the under. And the final game's going to be what a battle this is going to be, guys. If you're a UFL fan like me, you're going to love this game. DC Defenders at the St. Louis Battlehawks. Could this be a preview? Could this be the preview of what we're going to expect later on in the season? This is the clash I was looking for. Um, I find the point spread. Where is it at right now? The point spread's at 5.5. Wow, minus 5.5. They got the Battlehawks are favored at minus 5.5. That's a tough one, folks. But I think the confusing part about all of this, like we spoke about earlier, Jordan Tyum, the quarterback for DC, is playing a little bit inconsistent. The offense is looking inconsistent. I put their offense similar to what's going on with San Antonio and the Houston Roughnecks. Why are they struggling? You got the weapons on the outside. DC has the weapons. They got wide receivers. They got talented wide receivers. Okay? They got a decent O-line, a cohesive unit that's returning back, And they got a quarterback who's been in the league. All right, he's played with this team for quite some time. It should be a little bit better than what I'm seeing. And that's going to be the difference in his game. Once the Battlehawks get going and start putting points up, it's going to be hard to catch up with the Battlehawks because they do have a good defense. What's going to keep the DC defenders in the game? That defense. Greg Williams got these guys running around, and they're hitting people. They are hitting people. They got that defense punishing quarterbacks. Could this be a game where the defense gets a turnover here and there? Maybe, right? Maybe they got a chance. That point spread, I feel, is a little bit too high. Should be somewhere around -3 or -2. In fact, I would say that any good sports gambler out there, a sharp bettor, or how they call it, I would probably tease this game to a -1. I don't see the Battlehawks pulling out like that. They do have a good explosive offense, but they're going up against probably the best defense in the league, the DC Defenders. And Greg Williams, when it comes to playing against a high potent offense like they did against the Stallions in week 1, what did they do? They blitz, 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 and kept hitting the quarterback. So what am I looking for here? Well, I'm a money line the Battlehawks to win. This game's at St. Louis. The crowd's going to be behind them. Probably the best crowd in the UFL. They really support their team. And, it's funny because these two teams have the best crowds in the UFL. They really do go to their games and they support their teams. Maybe the DC Defender crowd will follow them, and support them. This is a great, great game. Battle of two undefeateds. I love it. I love it. This is exactly what I was looking for in the UFL. I love this matchup. It's probably going to get some good ratings this weekend. This is the game of the week, folks. Okay? So I'm a money line the Battlehawks, right, to win, simply because they just have the edge on offense and they do play well on defense. And going up against that DC offense that's been inconsistent so far, and Jordan Ta'amu needs better play calling, maybe. I don't know, but he's been off on his throws. Needs to get better. Okay, Jordan, you've been in this league long enough. Come on. Help out your team. They're 2-0. This is the battle right here. This is the big game. Well, the point spread, the over and under, I should say, I'm sorry, is at 39.5. I'm going to go over in this game. Why? Because I think that despite the fact that both these teams are going to battle it out defensively, I just think that the Battlehawks are going to put a little bit more points up in that board, and then it's going to force DC to kind of match up with them, kind of like force them an up-tempo type offense might help them. 23-20, I'm looking at a score like that, 27-23 or 23-20. So I'm looking for that. And that's why I'm going to go with the over. Okay. Now, with the over, I'm going to take the DC Defenders as the +5.5. Vegas put it out there, right? Vegas put it out there at -5.5 for the Battlehawks to win. Will they win by 6? They're capable. But I just think it's going to be a battle, a good game. Might come down to a field goal. So take the DC Defenders +5.5. They'll keep the game close, but eventually the Battlehawks will win. I'm looking at my notes to make sure I didn't make any mistakes. Okay. At first, I have written down for the over and under that it might go under. But no, I'm taking the over. I think I'm going to take the over. I had it listed as an under, but I'm going to take the over. and I'll have that written down on my whiteboard soon. But we definitely have some good games to look at this weekend. Okay, I'm erasing some of the stuff on this whiteboard. But listen, um, so let's write some of these down. Okay, now we're gonna money line. Okay, we got for the money line, and I'll just keep a list up here. We're gonna money line the Stallions. Okay. Okay, the Stallions will get money line this week. And we're gonna money line the Showboats. Okay. Gonna money line the Showboats. I just think that the Roughnecks are the worst team in the league. We're gonna money line the Panthers against San Antonio. The San Antonio continues to struggle on offense. They got to find a way to get that quarterback going and the running game. And we're going to money line the Battlehawks. Battlehawks are really looking like the championship team that they set out to be. I think they're pissed off the way last season went. So this is how we're going to go, people, with the money lines, right? These are the four teams. We went 4-0 last weekend. We're hoping to go 4-0 again, okay? So hopefully, no matter how you guys pick, I'm personally parlaying just like single games. So you guys can mix and match with what I put up here. I usually, right now, as I'm doing it, more likely I'm going to parlay that money line for myself this weekend. Okay, now the overs and under. Okay, the overs and unders. This is going to be a little bit tough. Okay, so we money line the Stallions, right? Let me put down first the over and under. I believe the over and under for the Renegades and the Stallions was at 40.5. You know, it's another good quality game here. We could have, I believe we took the under, right? We took the under 40.5 and the Stallions to win, right? We did that. Stallions to win, over and under. All right, let me put that here, Stallions. Okay. All right, this way you guys could understand that the team and the over and under go hand in hand here, all right? I'm sorry that it looks a little bit confusing, but I'm trying my best, guys. I want to give you the edge. I do my study. Okay, that second game, right? We got the Roughnecks against the Showboats, and we're going to do, what did I say we were going to do? We were going to go under that game, right? We were going to go under. All right. We got the under on that. It was 35.5. I'm not expecting offense at all, but we're taking the Showboats. Okay. Trying my best here, guys, to give you. Then that third game, right? We got San Antonio and the Panthers. We all know where that's going. And we got the Panthers to win, and we got the over on the 36.5. So we're taking the over on the 36.5 with the Panthers. Okay. So I think I should write up here that money line, right? That money line up there. Okay. I think I'm gonna show it to you this way. I think this is a better way to show it, right? Okay, and then the DC Defenders. We all know that we're gonna take the under, right? 39.5. So, actually no. What did I say? We were gonna do the over, maybe? Yeah, we're gonna do the over on that 39.5. We're going to trip up Vegas this week, guys. Take the over. Let's trip up Vegas. We got the Battlehawks to win. All right? Battlehawks to win. It's going to look a little bit like this. Okay, guys. All right. Without any confusion. All right. Can you guys read that? I got on the over and unders, you're going to see that we took the under at 40.5 with the money line Stallions. We took the under at 35.5 with the Memphis Showboats. And then we took the over at 36.5 with the Panthers. And then the over at 39.5 with the Battlehawks. So you got right here, you got the list of the money line And then on this side, you got the over and unders. Okay. So we're going to do that. Okay. Now we got to work on the spreads. So I'm going to put the ATS up here. It's called against the spread. So I'm going to put the ATS. When you see the ATS, you're going to see the spread. So I want to make sure that we were clear on the over and unders, all right? I want to make sure we were clear on the over and unders. So we took 2 overs and 2 unders. I made notes of it. I just want to make sure because I don't want to confuse your guys, okay? Wow, that San Antonio and Panthers game. Boy, I gotta make sure that San Antonio and Panthers game I put over. Interesting. That San Antonio and Panthers game, guys, I know you're gonna, it's an unpredictable league. It could have went over and it could have went under. I chose over because I just feel like this game's gonna play out a little bit differently than what I expect. I think it should probably get to the high 40s. I could be wrong. It could be a 23-20 game as well, 24-21 maybe. I don't know. Offensively, San Antonio is struggling, but I took the over because that over and under was at 36 and a half. So could it be 37 combined points, right? So that's the one game I'd be questioning. If you're a sports bettor, maybe you stay away from the over and under on that game. So anyway, let's do the spreads, all right? Let's do the spreads. Okay, so the first game, we said we were going to take the Stallions, right, with the -3, right? That's what we said against the Renegades. Maybe somebody out there will take the underdog. I think the Stallions are going to come out in front of their home fans, okay? They've been on the road for the first 2 weeks, and they're going to put on quite the show. So let's take that -3 and let's put it there, okay? We all know with that Memphis Showboat thing. Wow, that's a tough one. Memphis against the Showboats. Again, that's a game that could go either way with that point spread because both Memphis and Houston have a solid defense, okay? But again, they're expecting Memphis to win by 4. Could be a 14-10 game. Who knows, right? We do have that score under, so we're going to ride with the -3. And then we got the Panthers, and we're going to go with the +4.5 against San Antonio. Both these head coaches are solid. I just think, though, they're just going to come out and play a little bit better. 4.5, even though San Antonio is struggling on offense, I just feel like this game's going to probably be a field goal game. I don't see the Panthers running away with this game, but let's go with that. And then the final game, the best game of the night, of the weekend, I should say. We're going to go with the +5.5 DC against the Battlehawks, with the Battlehawks winning. So let me put that up there, guys, so you could see the spread. We just started taking the spreads last weekend, and there we are, where it says ATS. That's the column right here. ATS against the spread. We're going to take the -3, okay? With the Stallions, right? We're going to take the -3 with the favorites, the Showboats. So the Stallions and Showboats both favored -3. They both got to win by 4. And then the bottom 2 are going to be at pluses. We're taking the underdogs in this game. Although they're going to lose, they'll keep these games close. 4.5 there for San Antonio. So we take the +4.5. And we take the +5.5 with the DC Defenders against the Battlehawks. So that's where we stand, okay, with the picks this weekend. Let's hope we have the success we have with the money lines. Let's continue that. That seems to be the safest thing, right? As sports bettors, I always bet small and win big. Might be chump change, to some people. But for us, we're having fun. We're entertaining ourselves. We're making some extra bucks. Why not, right? Take those picks, parlay any which way you want, okay? Like I said, I'm trying to give you an edge for free. I'm trying to help you guys out. I know you sports bettors out there love when I put together something like this. We went 8-4 last week, and I wish we could have done a little bit better with the over and unders and against the spread. I went 2-1 on 3 of the parlays. I did win the final. Wait, no. I went 2-1. That's right. 2-1 on 3 of the parlays, which I lost. And then I also went 2-1 with the last parlay, but I didn't even bet that parlay. That's where I got a little bit confused. I went 8-4, 3 that I bet, okay, on the app. So I lost all 3 of those. Those are 2-1s. And then the final one, I didn't bet on the app. I actually left that off the app. I don't know why. But I would have lost it anyway. It was at 2-1. Okay. So now we're gonna get to an interesting part. Okay. Now let's get to this. Player props. Now I'm gonna give you players that I think could do well in games. Listen, it's an unpredictable league. I don't know how this is going to play out with guys that go on the app and they look at yardage, touchdowns, whatever. All right. Anytime touchdowns. Okay. Anytime TDs. Let's see if we could come up with a list of guys. All right. Again, it's an unpredictable league. We're having fun. All right. So we're going to go with touchdowns. All right. Passing wise, right? But first, let's go with anytime touchdowns. Renegades. I could go with Kalen Ballage, right? I think Kalen Ballage is a guy that could give you anytime touchdowns. Okay? Kalen Ballage, right? That's a guy that could get you. You know what? Let me change that title of anytime touchdowns. How about this? We come up with a list for TDs, guys that are going to score TDs this weekend. I'm almost positive these guys are going to be in the end zone. Let's go with Kalen Ballage. Looks like a guy that's going to get in the end zone. All right? Let's look at that. That's one guy, right, from Arlington. How about Deion Kane of the Stallions, right? Deion Kane, right? Looks like a guy that could get in the end zone, right? Let's go with that, right? How about Ricky Pearsall, right? Ricky Pearsall, also from the Stallions. Ricky Pearson, Jesus, why do I do that with names? Okay. Let's go with on the showboats. Jeez. How about Deneric Prince, right? I'm just throwing names out there, right? Deneric Prince. Kind of impressed with these guys, right? All right. You got a running back, you got a wide receiver, you got a running back, you got a couple of running backs, right? The list continues. I'm just throwing names out there, guys. I just want you to know that I don't do any player props with this league, but there are people out there that will go on their apps and they might win some money off of it. It's hard to do the passers because when it comes to yardage, they're rotating quarterbacks in this league, and that's a problem for me. Because what if, as an example, Luis Perez has a great game in the first 3 quarters, right? He gets over 200 yards, then he gets benched, right? And then you look at the player prop and it says 225, and then he's pulled to the bench to give the other guy a shot at throwing the ball around. This is what I mean. When it comes to player props, you do your best. We're going to do TDs only. So I think these 4 guys are really good at getting into the end zone. So far from what I've seen in this league, obviously the Battlehawks, man, come on. Jacob Sailors is up there, right? Jacob Sailors. Oh, my God. Jacob Sailors. Got to get him. Definitely get him, right? All right. When I give you this list, I'll run off the teams that they're on. So this way you guys don't. We're doing just guys that I think will be in the end zone this weekend. So it's up to you guys to decide how you want to put this as touchdowns. I don't know what it's going to pay. I don't know the plus, the negatives to these guys. I don't. So I'm trying to be as honest as I can. I want to help you guys make some money, right? Bets more to win big. And if you could put together a nice little list for $10, hey, you never know. You might get an extra 100 out of it, right? So let's put together a list of players that I think will be in the end zone. Manny Wilkins, definitely, right? But we're gonna do skill position players first, and then we'll get to the quarterbacks. Did I miss out anybody? Maybe. Let me see. Oh, how about Ty Scott from the DC Defenders? Right, Ty Scott. He's a wide receiver. How about this guy, Ty Scott? I really like the talent on that guy. Let me see if I'm missing anyone else. There is a tight end that I'm looking for. The kid from the Stallions, the tight end, Jay Sternberger, right? All right. So I believe that's his name, Sternberger, right? I think I misspelled it. He's a tight end. Okay. And let me see if I missed out anybody else on the Renegades. How about Tyler Vaughns, wide receiver, right? But maybe not this game. Maybe not. All right, listen. When it comes to player props, it's an unpredictable league. It's not like the NFL where you know these guys offhand and you could just shout out their name and start writing them down. These are the guys I've seen so far that are producing and look like money makers for you guys out there. I'm just throwing these names out. I'm not into the player props in this league. All right, here we go. Let me move it back a little bit, right? Okay, Kalen Ballage, Arlington Renegades running back. Deion Kane, wide receiver, Birmingham Stallions. Ricky Pearson Jr., running back, Stallions. Deneric Prince, running back, Memphis Showboats. Who's that guy? Jacob Sayers, probably the guy that's really killing it. 3 touchdowns this past weekend. 3 touchdowns, guys. You know how much that would have paid? Oh my God. Who would have thought he would have been in the end zone for 3 touchdowns? Running back from the St. Louis Battlehawks, Ty Scott, DC Defenders, wide receiver, and Jay Sternberger from the Birmingham Stallions seems to always find the end zone. Listen, those are names that I threw out. If you guys are interested in player props and looking for touchdowns from these guys, those are some pretty good names, okay? Now let's get to the passers, right? Guys that are going to throw passing TDs, okay? Passing TDs, okay? Who has the potential? Okay. Now, I'm not going to go with yardage. Like I told you earlier, you can't go with yardage, guys. And I'll tell you why. The league is unpredictable. The rotation of quarterbacks in this league is so crazy. Like, I mean, you went from, like a good example, Houston Roughnecks. You went from Anthony Brown Jr. to Nolan Henderson. Then at the end of the game, back to Anthony Brown Jr. Come on. You're killing the guy that player propped Anthony Brown, right? Okay, so the fact that they do a lot of rotational stuff at quarterback, I'm not going with passing yards, so stay away from that. How about passing touchdowns, right? How about who's going to throw touchdowns this weekend? Okay, I would think that these are the guys that are going to do it. I like Luis Perez. Okay, I got him for 1 TD. Okay, depending who's going to start for Birmingham, if it's Matt Corral, I also got him for, I believe I spelled his name wrong. Hold on 1 second. If it's Matt Corral, where is my eraser? Yeah, well, okay. If it's Matt Corral, I'm going to tell you right now that he'll probably throw 1. Okay? Maybe 1. All right? If Alex Magoo starts, he could be down for any time touchdown because he is a mobile quarterback. So I'm going to write his name and I'm going to put down mobile, Alex Magoo. Hope I spelled it right. And in parentheses, I'm going to put mobile TD. Okay? If he starts, if he plays, he's a mobile quarterback. Okay, let's go to the Roughnecks. Again, I tell you, if Nolan Henderson plays, which I think he will, Nolan Henderson, okay, got him for 1 TD. If it's Anthony Brown Jr., okay, understand when I put in parentheses mobile, I mean anytime touchdown. So please put it in your head that when I put down mobile, it's because he's planning to run into the end zone. All right. You guys should know that because we all know, okay, that these mobile quarterbacks will take off if they don't get the look they're looking for. Okay. I might have to do the other side of the whiteboard also, but let's go with this. Okay. All right, Memphis Raw, EJ Perry. I think kid's awesome. I think he's good for 1 touchdown this weekend. All right. Um, let's go to San Antonio. Kellen Mond. Uh, I don't think I'm even going to put his name down. To be quite honest, I don't have that confidence with Kellen Mond. You know what? I think against the Michigan Panthers, I think Kellen Mond's going to get one. All right. Let me first put this list up. This list up there. Kellen Mond, 1 TD. All right. Let me put this list up here first. Okay. This is for passing touchdowns. If you got this is for touchdowns from quarterbacks. I got Luis Perez to throw 1 next weekend, week 3. Okay, I got him throwing for 1 from Arlington. I got Matt Corral from the Birmingham to throw 1. I got Alex Magoo. If he starts, he might run for 1. I'm not so sure he's going to play, but he's a mobile quarterback. I will put him on the prop that's anytime touchdown, a rushing touchdown, something. Nolan Henderson, if he starts, he's good for 1 touchdown. Anthony Brown, again, I put him in the same category as Alex Magoo, mobile quarterback. EJ Perry, at least 1 touchdown this weekend. Kellen Mond, surprisingly, I put him down for 1 touchdown. It's either going to come mobile or it's going to come as a passing touchdown. I'm not done with the list. Okay. I'm up to the San Antonio quarterback. Okay. I'm not done with the list. Okay. The Panthers, right? Bryce Perkins. Okay. Bryce Perkins. He's good for 1. Okay, for 1 TD. Okay. DC, Jordan Ta'amu. Oh, this is a tough one. All right. I don't know if I spelled this right. Ta'amu. I think he puts it in parentheses. I'm going to put down, he could do both. He could actually do both. Okay. He could either be mobile or he could be throwing a touchdown. I'm going to give, you know what, Jordan? I expect you to throw a touchdown. You got to show me something this weekend. All right? You got 2 good receivers. You're playing the Battlehawks. I think you could get on the board by throwing 1 out there. And, of course, my boy Manny Wilkins. This is the guy that I'm going to put 5 stars next to. Manny Wilkins. Okay. Definitely he's going to throw probably 1. And I'm going to write underneath here, mobile. Okay. I'll put Jordan also for mobile. All right. All right. Here we go, people. My list is done with the quarterbacks for player props. We never done player props. I'm not betting player props on quarterbacks this weekend or any player. To be quite honest with you, I stay away from it. It's an unpredictable league. But anyway, let me post this up. I know there's guys out there that want my opinion on who they think are going to be doing well with player props. Well, again, this is my second list of the passing touchdowns for this weekend. I think Bryce Perkins will throw 1 against San Antonio. I think Jordan Ta'amu from the DC Defenders might get 1 either throwing or running. That's up to you guys to decide how you want to use that prop. Manny Wilkins, he's good for a touchdown, and he's good to probably run 1 in. Okay? So that would be my player props for this weekend as far as, certain players that I'm seeing consistency with certain players from what I see, like as far as how they play when they're on the field. Couple of things that I'm trying to, throw out there. I always say either at the end of my video or in the beginning, I would prefer that no one gambles. It's not for everyone. Again, let me repeat that. I would prefer that no one gambles. It's not for everyone. It ruins lives. I don't want to see no one get hurt. If you gamble and you come out and win the first time out, I'm going to tell you as advice, it never happens that way. It's by luck. Luck is always involved in gambling. And also, you got to understand too, and this is true, when you win the first time out on any stuff that you do, whether it's slot machines, table games, or sports betting, like me and the people out there that are watching this YouTube video of week 3 picks, if you come out and win and you think you could do it all the time, that could be a problem for you. You could get addicted. You could think, and then you start martingale-ing it when you start losing. Listen, it's not for everyone. Okay? I would prefer you lose so you get it in your head that this is the way it really happens. Casinos are not in the business to give you money. They're in the business of taking your money. Vegas is a perfect example when you saw that point spread of minus 11.5. Don't know where the hell that came from. Okay? But also, remember, don't be a sucker. If you can't spot it, you're the sucker. Okay? If you can't spot the sucker, you're the sucker. Right? Just don't gamble, period. All right? Don't ruin your life over this. Bet small to win big. I use $5 to $10 bets on anything I do. That's why I don't bitch. I don't complain when I lose because it was fun money. Use fun money and use money that you don't need to pay bills or whatever. Okay? Let's be safe. All right? Think about your families first. All right? Think about what you're going to do before you do it. Okay? This is an unpredictable league. All right? So, I want to get that out of the way because it's very important to understand that we have a younger generation betting now. People are using their phone apps. They'll bet on anything, which is the wrong way to go when betting on sports. You got to know the sport. I do my homework. I study these games. I study the leagues. I'm a football guy. I love the NFL. I love the UFL. I don't even bet on college football because that's like crazy. Some of these point spreads, like sometimes I see like a homecoming game, like Georgia playing Troy State, minus 55. Like, are you nuts? I mean, guys, be smart. Look at the point spreads. The easiest way to go would be money line. Maybe get a 4-leg parlay, right, with the teams you think it's going to win. And then if you feel comfortable with the spreads, you could leg it also with it. That gives you an 8-leg parlay. I can honestly tell you, like sports bettors do to me all the time, and they tell everyone else, don't bet parlays because all it takes is one loss and it ruins the whole ticket, right? You want to go single units, you can do that. I don't know if money line will not pay as much, all right? Um, Spreads will probably pay better than money lines as well as over and unders. Find a way to parlay yourself a certain way, right? Bits and pieces from each game that I gave you info from, right? If that's how you want to do it. Me personally, I'll take a single game and do a three-leg parlay. That's the way I did it this past weekend. Went 2-1 on each game. Lost the 3 parlays that I actually bet. Lost the last one 2-1. I don't know why I didn't bet it, but I would have lost it anyway. But that's what I do. You could do single games. Like, hey, I'll give you an example. This upcoming game between the Renegades and the Stallions, looking at my notes, right? Let's say you want to do a single game parlay, money line the Stallions, take the under at 40.5, and then get a -3 on the Stallions. You could do that parlay. If it wins, great. You bet $10. What does that pay you? What the odds are 3-1. What, $30 it might get you? But hey, it's maybe more than that, right? Maybe more than that. But that's the way I go about it. I don't throw big money on these leagues because, like I said, they're unpredictable. But it's very important that, if I left out anything, please, put it down in my comment section and hit that like and subscribe button. Much appreciated. I really love this part of gambling for me. I play it safe. I always use a fund account or a savings account or what I call a shoebox account. I literally put money in a shoebox, extra money that I don't need. And it makes it a lot of fun when you're with friends, family, or whatever, or if you're a lone wolf like me at times when I go sports betting. When you go to your local sports book, your local casino, I should say, where the sports book is at, or any sports book that's located around you, always check the line of the game, the time of the game, all of that, right? Because will weather affect the game, right? We saw a couple of games this weekend where the weather was cold, misty, right? I think that Arlington game was like that, right? It was a bit cold. Maybe that affected some of the passing game. Maybe affected the way the players came out. Maybe they weren't warm enough. I guess, But always look at stuff like that. That might help you. I know I went a little bit longer today on my video to give you guys the proper picks and stuff, but we did do a couple of player props. We just spoke about some of the funny spreads that came out. And I always want to make sure that you guys get all this information because, I want you guys to make money this weekend. And the UFO is a tough league for any sports bettor to get involved in, right? Most of you guys are doing basketball, Final Fours, all types of stuff, baseball, even golf, even tennis is, I know there's a lot of sports bettors that put their hard earned money as well as their time to study. Or there's guys that I know sit in front of a laptop all afternoon, all day. They're lone wolves. They don't have families, probably only have a few friends because that's all they do. And they probably neglect their girlfriends or wives. And, unfortunately, things don't go well. And this is what I'm trying to explain to you guys. You got to be careful with your sports betting, right? You got to understand that there also is life outside of this, all right? That's my advice to you guys. Just be careful, all right? I want you guys to have fun, make money, pay a bill here and there. Now, if you have the money and you want to throw more money into your bet, that's up to you guys. I don't condone it, but that's up to you guys. If you guys have the money to throw it away like that, that's on you. And if you win, congratulations. If you lose, I warned you guys, right? But look, we're here to have fun. I'm trying to give you guys an edge. I do my homework. I study these games. I watch these games. I always, sit back, hit a six pack, or whatever it is you guys like to do, eat pizza, whatever. So, I do those things, and I do it for you so you guys can make some money. And then when I put up on a whiteboard, you guys could write it down, jot it down. Hey, Casino Pete took this team. Casino Pete went 4-0 last weekend on the money line. Let's see who he's got on the money line this week. And you guys write it down. Maybe the money line hits again. That would be great, right? Imagine going 2 weekends in a row hitting the money line picks. That's awesome. Now, what you can do is you could parlay it. You can add to it. When it comes to player props, like this is the first weekend I ever showed you guys who I think will be in the end zone. There's a lot of great players in the UFO. There really is. There's a lot of good players in the UFO. What defense is going to show up? What defense is going to have the most sacks, right? But again, it's an unpredictable league. So what happens here is I don't give you so much information to know any of that because at the quarterback position, what do? They rotate quarterbacks. And that's the only reason why I can give you a set answer of who's going to throw over 150 yards. If you see any quarterback with a prop like plus anytime touchdown or passing touchdown, look for the passing touchdowns or anytime touchdown. If he's a mobile quarterback, anytime touchdown is the best way to go, right? That means he could either rush it in and at any given time of the game, right? Anytime touchdown. But when it comes to passing touchdowns, I gave you a list of who I think are the quarterbacks that normally do this week in and week out. It's only week three, guys. It's only week 3 coming up. Okay? But so far, this league is shaping up the way I expected. I want the UFL to do well. I want them to continue. I'm hoping to get a New York, New Jersey franchise so I can start going to these games. We did have one in the XFL a few years ago. And, I believe Luis Perez was the quarterback, too, in that league with them. And unfortunately, that folded. But I'm hoping that we get back that New York, New Jersey franchise. But listen, guys, good luck this weekend. It's week 3. I hope I was helpful. in putting out what I think is going to be a great weekend. I'm looking forward to that Defenders and Battlehawks game, as well as the Renegades and Stallions. This is going to give us a clear picture of what I think are the top teams in the league going up against each other. They're all well coached. Bob Stoops, right? He won a championship already in this league, right? Birmingham, they're the Patriots of the UFL. They just keep winning and going to the championship games. They're dominating this league, right? You got the Battlehawks with Anthony Beck. They're on a mission, right? And then you got the DC Defenders with a brand new coach who took over the team with 1 week left in practice, right? I think 1 week before the season opener, and he's doing well. He's 2-0. Greg Williams, a fantastic defensive coordinator. They got their hands full this weekend, okay? And, if I had to pick an upset, out of this group, it could be the DC Defenders with that defense because they love to smack that quarterback. But, again, I expect the Battlehawks to win this game. But anyway, I want you guys to enjoy it. This is what I'm going to say for people out there that are first-time bettors. Don't gamble. Stay away. Be smart with your money and be smart with yourself. Don't ruin your life over this. Have fun and enjoy. It's for entertainment, guys. It's for entertainment, okay? That's what sports bettors do. We entertain ourselves. And if we happen to win, fantastic. We could brag about it, bullshit about it to our audience, and exaggerate the truth at times. And sometimes we'll, like these YouTube channel guys, they'll put a stack of money in front of it. Hey, this is what I won this weekend. Congratulations, guys. Wonderful. If that's what works for you, great. But anyway, pretty much I hope I touched on every topic from each game, the recap of week 2 and going into week 3. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please, I beg you guys. Yeah, I would say that's kind of begging, but hit that like and subscribe button. I do want to hear from you guys. I really do. It's important for me because I can't get any better without hearing from you guys. You know what I mean? I make mistakes. I'm an amateur like anybody else. I do make mistakes, and I expect you guys to comment on it, right? So listen, I want to hear from you guys. And if I've done something good, let me know also, right? I might make mistakes with player names, player teams, whatever. Just hit me up. Hit me up. I'm always open for conversation, all right? I thank you very much for tuning into my channel. I'm Casino Pete. Enjoy week 3, and I'm out.